This universe is finite. Its resources, finite. Thanos drops this line, and suddenly you realize the most terrifying villain in the MCU isn't wrong about resource scarcity. If life is left unchecked, life will cease to exist. He's actually describing basic environmental collapse. But wait. Before Thanos broke half the universe, other villains were already dropping uncomfortable truths. Remove this quote or replace with a verified Killmonger quote such as, "How do you think your ancestors got these? Do you think they paid a fair price? Or did they take it, like they took everything else?" That the movie barely touches. His plan to arm the oppressed worldwide? The sun will never set on the Wakandan Empire. He's literally describing decolonization through force. The Joker takes it further. You get what you fucking deserve. Arthur Fleck pulls that trigger, and suddenly you're watching wealth inequality explode into violence. When he's dancing down those stairs, he's not celebrating chaos. He's celebrating the death of a system that left him behind. The movie forces you to watch a man break under economic pressure while rich people debate mental health funding on talk shows. Then Magneto drops the coldest truth of all. Replace with a verified Magneto quote, or remove the quotation marks and paraphrase his general sentiment about persecution. He's just tired of waiting for tolerance to work. When he says remove quotation marks and reference this as his general philosophy rather than a specific quote, or find a verified Magneto quote about persecution. His entire arc is asking whether peaceful resistance actually protects anyone when the camps start building. Each of these villains diagnoses real problems with surgical precision. Colonial exploitation, economic abandonment, historical persecution. They're not wrong about what's broken. They're wrong about the cure. The horror isn't their analysis of society's failures. It's that violence becomes their only solution when the system refuses to change. After hearing Magneto's "Never Again" and Killmonger's decolonization plan, which villain's solution would you actually consider if you lived in their world? Drop your answer in the comments below. But here's what makes these characters truly chilling. They don't just diagnose problems. They force you to choose a side in a war you didn't know was happening. The hardest choices require the strongest wills. Thanos stares down at you through the screen, and suddenly you realize he's not asking for your approval. He's demanding you acknowledge the math. Half the universe dies, but the other half gets to survive resource collapse. The snap isn't genocide to him. It's triage. That's what makes these villains genuinely terrifying. They don't just break things for fun. They diagnose terminal diseases in systems everyone else pretends are healthy. You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Harvey Dent's transformation in The Dark Knight isn't about corruption. It's about what happens when someone who believed in justice watches it fail completely. When the system can't deliver fairness, violence becomes the only language that gets results. The most chilling moment comes when you catch yourself nodding along. Magneto's concentration camp tattoo. Killmonger's museum speech about stolen artifacts. Arthur Fleck's economic desperation. These aren't cartoon villains twirling mustaches. They're trauma survivors who've run out of patience with peaceful solutions. When the mob and the press and the whole world tell you to move, your job is to plant yourself like a tree. But what happens when the tree is planted in poisoned soil? The best villains force you to confront a question. If their diagnosis of the problem is correct, but their solution is violence, what does that say about the systems they're attacking? Every time you agree with their analysis but reject their method, you're admitting that you'd rather live with the injustice they've identified than risk the chaos their cure would bring. That's the real horror. Not that they're monsters, but that they're showing you exactly how close you are to their logic when the system finally fails you too.